welcome to Noble's Emerging Growth Equity Conference. My name is Pat McKeon. I'm an analyst here at Noble Capital Markets. Today I have the pleasure of introducing Expion360. We have Brian Schaffner, the CEO, with us. Before we get started, and Brian's going to go through the presentation, just wanted to let you all know that you can submit your questions in the chat, and we will get to as many of those as we can at the end. So without further ado, Brian, over to you.
Hey, thank you, Pat. Expion360, we operate in the clean energy space, and we work with our builders and suppliers to provide battery option systems for RV and marine and light industrial vehicles. And we are also leveraging that experience to move into home energy, which is going to be really the substance between our growth in the next couple of years. Just to know a little bit about us, we certify all of our battery systems or energy storage systems to UL 1973, which is the strictest lithium battery standard. Again, with focusing on our current footprint in recreational vehicles to grow and expand into home energy. We serve our customers through core values of safety, quality, and service, and we back that up with warranties of up to 12 years on our batteries. That is the basis of what we are. Let me talk a little bit about the RV industry and how we've leveraged that to move into home energy. RV industry had a difficult year last year. They were down about 40%. We still gained market share during that time period. Our revenues dropped to 15 to 18%, depending on how you calculate it. But we still have a strong RV base. We have OEM customers that put our batteries into new RVs and new trailers. And we also have the used RV market. There's about 10 million RVs. Used RVs, most of those have lead acid batteries. And, those typically will last 3 to 5 years if they're kept well. The latest one that I put in my boat lasted a year and a half. But we use the safest, what we feel is the safest lithium chemistry, lithium iron phosphate. Less of a chance of thermal runaway than what you see in some of the EVs. Some of those use nickel cobalt manganese, which require a very complicated heating and cooling system. Our battery, our BMS, battery management system, is what we use to maintain the right charge level and the right temperature of our batteries, shutting off the battery if it's going to have any issues that might cause concern to our customer. So this is an overview of where we are. Again, we're in the recreational space, which includes vehicles, overland, boating, marine, and light EV with our new GC2 product. Our products, I'll show you the product line in a minute, but many of them are Bluetooth capable, also CAN bus. Our Bluetooth is very resilient, allowing you to see the health of the entire system. So if you have 3 or 4 batteries connected together, it will show you the entire system versus some of our competition where it just allows you to see each battery. And you can, in ours, drill down to each battery as well. Protected by 11 patents. That's driven by our president and COO, Paul Schown. Paul's an electromechanical engineer. He is the driving force between our battery design and development. He is also the one behind our safety, quality, and service initiatives, as evidenced again by our warranty of up to 12 years, full replacement value up to 6, and it's prorated after that. We also pride ourselves on servicing the entire system that's sold to our customer, not just the battery, and our master Victron distributor. We are leveraging our quality and reputation in RV and LEV markets as a driving force behind the development of our home energy solutions, and that will be the foundation for our future growth. Here's the first slide on home energy, just to show you the growth percentages for home energy at 34.9%. It dwarfs what we're seeing in RV, which is one of the reasons why we pivoted to the development of home energy, as it is our future. It's driven by many factors, including people wanting grid stability. They're tired of brownouts or blackouts. Also, federal and state regulations are driving the need for battery systems in solar. Part of this, if you could take a look at it, California has new net metering 3.0 rules, which require a battery storage system along with solar. We have two home energy systems that have been currently designed and are in testing, getting ready to move towards pilot, that take advantage of this growing market. How do we differentiate ourselves? Well, number one, we leverage our reputation for quality, but also with the price point that rewards our integration and installation partners with some margin of their own, and allowing you to put a home energy battery system as small as 5 kW to start off with, and allowing you to expand that going forward if you want to have more potential days off grid. Just a little bit about the technology in the battery segment. This is compared to lead acid. So lithium batteries are 50% lighter. They have 50% more energy density, and they charge 2 to 3 times quicker. But the beautiful thing about them is even though they're more expensive than a traditional lead acid battery, they can last up to 12 years, which is or 3 to 5,000 charging cycles. What is the fight about with lithium and EVs? Well, it's all about these cells. This cell is a 26650 cell. It's a kind of a standard cell, and they're proprietary to us. They're built to our specifications, and our cells have a high enough power density that compared to our competition, we can pack 32% more power into this, which allows us to have a higher energy density for the same floor footprint. That helps us in RVs where, of course, floor space is of the maximum. You need floor space in an RV. We also have additional proprietary technology that we believe sets ourselves above our competition. If you can imagine that some batteries that operate in cold weather need a blanket to be put around them to keep them up to temperature, and that blanket typically heats from the outside in, sometimes leaving the interior of the battery at a lower temperature than the outside. That also means that you have to have more power to heat the battery completely. Now, our new vertical heat conduction technology heats the battery from the negative side to the positive side on each battery, allowing for a more uniform charge, a more uniform temperature, and the battery will then use less of its power to maintain its temperature. That's been very, very well received by the industry. So to finalize our footprint in RV and also in marine and in LEV, we now have a complete product line across the markets. Our GC2 batteries are the ones that go into golf carts, or LEVs as sometimes they're called. I want to show for you 1 minute one of our new form factors. This is the Edge. The Edge is 4.2 inches tall, and this was designed based on customer requests for a battery that can be installed in a wall or in a floor that takes up less floor space or wall space than a traditional battery, as again, floor space is of a premium. This has been very, very well received, and as we continue to work with our potential OEM clients, we expect to be making announcements as to those that are adopting this as a power option of choice in their manufacturing line. Our current marketing channels. Sorry, I've lost my cursor. Our current marketing channels. On the RV side, our lithium batteries are in Camping World. Camping World and Blue Compass make up half of the RV segment in the United States. We reach Camping World directly, and we reach Blue Compass through our relationship with Meyer Distributors. But we also have distribution channels through Interstate Battery, OEM channels through Chinook RV and Imperial Outdoors, and many others on the OEM side. And we had just announced a relationship with Tractor Supply. On the private label side, we do build a private label for some companies that want batteries in a different color. And they can do that either on a straight private label where they take care of all the service on their side, or co-branded with our name on it if they choose to utilize our services to take care of that battery for the customer. The last two slides, and I'm looking at my time here, I've got about 4 minutes left. The last two slides are going to focus on home energy, which again is our future. We will see more revenue with home energy and better contribution margins for our company. That's why we pivoted. But we we saw the downturn in RV in 2023 and pivoted about a year early to home energy development. The biggest thing with home energy, it's kind of twofold. The first thing is that you have to have the proper UL certification with home energy, because there are some states such as California that require that the battery and the inverter be certified together in order to get tax credits. And as you know, one of the biggest selling points to customers if they are purchasing a solar system along with the battery is ROI, and those tax credits can come into play. Our battery systems also offer another way besides just solar to capture ROI, and that is that they can take power into the system during off-peak hours and then use it during peak hours to give the customer the benefit of that margin between, say, 1.5 cents midnight through 4 o'clock in the morning to 34 to 35 cents per kilowatt hour during the day during peak times. Here are the two products that we have currently developed and in testing. The product on the left-hand side can be used by the customer in as low as 5 kW. That's a big benefit when some customers may not want a big full-blown system, even though it's required in California. But it would allow that to be installed at an MSRP as low as $3,094 without the inverter. And then they could add 4 more bricks to that to bring it up to a 20 kW system if they did want to have more off-grid capability in the case of a blackout. The system on the right has the inverter installed. It's more typical to the system that you might see in garages around the United States at a very, very competitive MSRP. But all of our systems, our batteries are certified to UL 1973 standards. And with an inverter, they will be certified to UL 9540 standards so that they qualify for those tax credits in the states that require it. We believe that our pivot to home energy is vital for our company. It will provide a healthy margin for us as we expect our contribution margin to increase with this over the more crowded market that we have for the RV segment. In conclusion, between our electromechanical engineer, Paul Schown, myself, and the CFO, Greg Adelot, we feel that we have the right management team, that we have a premium product that we can offer at a reasonable price. Our products are available. We don't have any hiccups in our supply channel, and we are growing our sales channels and our partners to sell them through. If you'd like to see some additional interesting highlights, you can go and see the full slide deck. At the end, it shows some battery comparisons with photos on the difference between how we build our batteries and how others build the batteries. And of course, you can always contact MZ Group, our IR firm, if you'd like to have an additional one-on-one with me. Pat, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go back to you.
Thanks, Brian. So we do have some questions. The first question is when you talked about the pivot and getting into different markets and expanding, what types of batteries you're developing. I'm wondering, what are the challenges from a manufacturing standpoint? How seamlessly can you expand and pivot in new directions?
Well, it's pretty seamless other than the time frame taken between ordering production and having it brought over on a boat. Our manufacturing is done in Asia, in China. We have 3 manufacturing partners, so we have plenty of capacity to meet supply demands for our consumers. And also the nice thing is that within that partnership group, we do have the ability to pivot to building our batteries and then doing the final pack assembly here in Redmond, Oregon. We do have the ability to pivot to having those manufactured in Scandinavia if for some reason we had issues with any higher tariffs. I mean, right now the tariffs on our product are about 10.9%, but the majority of our competition does not build their batteries here in the United States anyway. And so, they have to source them from the same places that we source them from. Therefore, they are in most instances subject to the same tariffs that we would be. But we've put that in place to protect things. If you see that, on our balance sheet that we have a little bit higher inventory than you normally would see, it's definitely not just in time. One of the reasons why we do that is to give us enough of a runway to pivot our manufacturing to Scandinavia if we had to. We want to make sure that during that time frame, during that transition, that our customers are still being given product.
Got it. And then we do have some questions from the audience I wanted to jump into.
Absolutely.
Could you give any type of financial guidance for the next 1, 3, 5 years, and talk a little bit about your ability to grow revenue and how you see that moving forward?
Yeah, we don't provide any financial guidance related to numbers and percentages, but we are very, very excited about what home energy is going to do for us. Again, if you take a look at the growth rate and the size of that market, along with the fact that we go from selling, $500 to $1,000 batteries to selling in some cases, 4, 5, 6, $20,000 systems, it's a new dynamic for us. And we're excited about that, but I'm very bullish about it, not only related to the size of the market, to the integration partners that we're working with right now to bring our product to market in that solar energy field with the battery backup, but also in the fact that because the market isn't as crowded and there's some barriers to entry related to UL testing and the amount of time that it takes to get these systems up and running and through pilot, that we are able to see a better margin, and that helps us cover our fixed costs.
Great. And then you mentioned some price points. Could you go a little further into that as far as how expensive are your batteries relative to the competition? And maybe you could do a little contrasting between
Sure.
lithium versus lead-based batteries, and just talk about
Sure.
the price differences.
Sure. I mean, price differences on your lead acid battery. I mean, a typical lead acid battery is going to cost you somewhere between $100 and $250, depending on whether it's an AGM battery or not. Our battery that's comparable to that, even though it has a higher energy density and a better warranty, is going to be in the $500 to $700 range. And I'm just talking recreational right now. Related to our home energy options, we believe that our home energy options per kilowatt hour, both MSRP and in the pricing that we're providing to our integrators, we believe that that is less than our competition. And we believe that that is going to be a big competitive advantage for us in going into the future. But really, the scalability of our system is one of the keys. You don't have to buy, like our competition has, a 13 kW system, which is an overbuild for some homes. You can go in and just do a 5 kilowatt hour system that would keep you with power during short brownouts or short blackouts. And look, if you wanted to go ahead later on and expand your system so that it would last a couple of days, you can add 3 more bricks to that system without having to add any additional infrastructure to your build, any additional cost to your build other than just the battery. You slide those 3 batteries into our rack mount system. It recognizes that there are some new batteries. It loads it properly across all of the cells. And all of a sudden you've gone from 5 kW to 20 kW, without having to really call in a contractor and have them do more work on your house. So we feel that the options for both systems, which are our rack mount system, which can be up to 20 kW in one rack, but can be scaled up to 80 kW. Now, that really does also have light commercial applications to it, small office buildings as well, which is one of the reasons why we built it. we felt that people should have more options than what they're being given right now.
Great. And then another thing that you've mentioned is the UL safety certification.
Mhm.
Could you just touch on that again and maybe give investors a little more detail on the importance of
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. So all of our batteries are certified to UL 1973 standard. That is the highest standard that of certification for lithium batteries. On top of that, if our system is coupled with an inverter, like if the rack mount system was coupled with somebody else's inverter, you have to certify the inverter and the battery as one system to UL 9540 standards. And you have to do that in some states to qualify for the energy credits. Our all-in-one system that has the internal inverter, and it's finishing up its UL certification process, that will be certified to 9540 standards out of the gate. So basically, internally, the battery is UL 1973. The inverter is certified as well, but the entire package is certified to UL 9540. So it does not limit us to the states that we're able to sell into with our integration providers.
Great. And then another question is regarding the raw materials. Could you talk about the sourcing of the raw materials and maybe again you could draw a comparison between talking about the challenges and the advantages of from that perspective when it comes to lithium versus lead, and give a little bit of an overview on that.
Sure, sure. So, just so you know, I mean, when people talk about the volatility of lithium prices, there's very, very little lithium that's used in our cells and in our batteries. I'd probably be more concerned if the prices jumped or spiked on the stainless steel that's used to encapsulate the cells. But our products are sourced non-conflict. We definitely wouldn't go there. Um, with lead acid, I would say that the longevity of lead acid and the fact that it may or may not be as recyclable is the real driving force between the government and the state pushes to go from lead acid to lithium options or options that last longer. And I don't have the exact number in front of me, but almost all of our battery is recyclable. It's a very, very high percentage. It's in the high 90%. And while lead acid batteries are recyclable, obviously they have the word lead in them, which is a very difficult thing to deal with. We took lead out of our gasoline. We'd also like to take lead out of our batteries. And at some point it'll be beneficial to us. And we think that at some point, even the starting batteries in vehicles will be mandated that they're not lead acid anymore. And we have the technological background with our engineering team to be able to be right there if that opportunity presents itself as well.
Understood. And then we have a follow-up question to the financial guidance question from earlier. Is there any other type of metric you could give as far as installs or anything like that as far as targets in the future?
Sure. Well, what I can give you is strategic points that if we hit or if you see them coming out in press releases, you'll know that we're headed in the right direction. We had told our investors that sales would be down in the first half of 2024 as we tried to pivot or as we pivoted to home energy and as we continued to grow our RV OEM side, which if you know a little bit about Elkhart, Indiana, they make decisions at the beginning of the year and then they do the switch over on their lines to new battery power systems July 1st. So we had tried to point people together to a brighter, sunnier future for us in the second half of 2024. That may show in some of the downward pressure on our stock for the first year. We tried to be honest with people about that. But what can you see from us to know that we're meeting our strategic targets? More announcements for new OEs, specifically with the top three, Thor, Forest River, and potentially Airstream. The other thing would be, announcements that we have an integration partner related to home energy, somebody that has experience with the direct sales to consumer and will be working hand in hand with us to provide testing and pilot guidance to make sure that the system that we put in the home does reflect safety, quality, and service, which are the key components to how we run the company. So I would just watch for those things coming out. If you see those announcements and those press releases, you'll know that we're on the right track for 2024 and beyond.
Excellent. And we are kind of coming up against the end of our time here. So let me just ask one more question around the financials. Could you just talk a little bit about the financial state of the company right now and your ability to invest in various new verticals and just the general
Sure.
overview of that?
Sure. I mean, we feel that we have the tools in place and that we're properly capitalized and that we have the access to the capital that we need. But the real key here is for us to make sure that we hit our runway on home energy, because that is going to be the future of the company. It would take us too long just as an RV or recreational vehicle supplier for us to hit our runways for positive cash flow and positive profits, which is why we pivoted and added another vertical, added another market, because we saw the need for that. So while we utilize RV as kind of an anchor tenant, so to speak, we do know that our future is in home energy.
Great. Well, Brian, thank you so much for being with us today. We really enjoyed having you. Thanks for the presentation and for answering all the questions.
Hey, Pat, I appreciate it. Thanks for the invite. And for all the investors, thank you for taking a look at Expion360. We appreciate your time.
Excellent.